All right, so now that we've got our login screen set up and working, we're going to create a new activity for our user list. So again, we should be pretty comfortable with this sort of thing by now. We'll create a new blank activity, which is going to be a user list. And I'll call it user list. We don't need a parent because we don't want a back button here. And then we'll get rid of our default text view and bring in our list view. And then we'll jump over to user list and write our setup code. So we're going to need an array list. And this is going to contain our usernames. And we'll set it up here. It's a new array list of strings. Then we're going to get our content from parse. So we're going to need to do a parse query. And we're going to be querying users. So we'll need a user query, much like this. So you can begin to see how once you've done these things a few times, it actually becomes pretty quick, the whole process to create a functional app. There we go. And as before, we want all the users apart from our current user. So we want the username to be not equal to the current username, which is parse user dot get current user dot get username. And then, as always, we'll do a check to make sure that objects.size is greater than 0. And if it is, we'll start by clearing usernames just in case it has anything in it, and then we'll loop through the users, all of which are going to be parse users, and we'll get all the users from objects, and then all we need to do is add their usernames to the usernames array list. Actually, I'm going to change that to user. And get username. There we go. And once that's done, we want to display them on the list view. So we're going to need an array adapter. Let's create that up here. And let's create our list view as well. So we'll create the list view. Finding it by its ID. And then we'll create the array adapter as a new array adapter using this as the context, android.r.layout.simpleListItem back to 1 this time, and then usernames as the linked array list. And then I think it makes the most sense to link up the array adapter to the list view here, even though we could do it here and save ourselves a line of code. I prefer to kind of have the logic of how everything's connected up here and then just update the adapter here. So there we go. That's all good, but we're not going to be able to see it unless we actually do the logging in process. So let's just quickly do that back over in main activity. So we'll need a method because we're going to call this from several different places. Show user list. And we'll just need to create an intent I, which is a new intent using the application context. And we want to jump to userList.class. There we go. And then start activity I. Then we want that to happen from 3 places. When the user has logged in, when the user has signed up, and then we also want to do a check to make sure that if the user is logged in, then they are redirected straight away. So if passUser.getCurrentUser is not null, then show the user list. Okay, so we've written a fair bit of code there, but it's code that we're fairly familiar with, so I'm pretty confident that it will all work. And now we should be logged in as Ralphie, I believe, and so it should show us the table with everyone apart from Ralphie's username. Wonderful. There we go. So there's our user list with Kirsten, Rob, and Tommy on it. So our next challenge then will be to tap on one of these to be able to send them an image. And that's what we'll tackle in the next video. See you there.